Good morning. And welcome to the First Parish of Church of Stowe and Acton, a welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Lisa Fagerstrom, and I serve on several different things, but I'm specifically here to talk to you as a co-facilitator of a small group ministry, which I'll get to a little bit later. For those of you visiting FPC for the first time, we welcome you. Please let us know that you were here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher or drop it in the plate. Our minister, our staff, and board are listed on the front of the order of service, and please feel free to ask me or any of these people for information. And also, if you don't want to fill the card out, you can hit that little QR code or you can go online later on. But please do make sure you register who you are, so we won't chase you. It's just nice to know who you are, and if you want information, it's a good way to do that. If you would like a large order print of service or hymnal or an assisted listening device, please ask our ushers who are in the back. Our assisted listening devices are actually small radios, and anyone is welcome to use one of these devices in another space in or around the building. Nursery care is available during the service for kindergarten through five grade children. Children usually attend the first part of the service and then leave for the classes. Once a month, we have a children's chapel where children begin their time in the community room. And for youth programming and other information, please see the bulletin or ask our religious education director, who is over here in the front row, or an usher. And after the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is down the stairs or the elevator, that way, all the end of the building. Just kind of follow the folks that are coming and you'll find it if you don't know where it is. And also on a breakout room if you're joining online. And I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service. If you're new, you'll know that we're a very active church. If you're not new, you'll know that we're a very active church. So please take a look at the bulletin and also the webpage where you can sign up for our newsletter, email alerts, and also see what's going on. There are a couple of special announcements today. One, I just want to draw your attention to the coffee house that's coming up, and also that we're having a line dance next Saturday night, the 24th. The information is in your bulletin. So I would say even if you don't know what you're doing, come, because there's teaching and that, and I've heard the last time we did it, it was a great time. So I'll be in Florida, so I'll wave to you with the line dancing, but please come. Also, Meg Costello asked that we announce this because it's of interest to our front yard. On Tuesday, January 20th, which is this Tuesday, at 10:30 a.m., the Stowe Traffic Safety Advisory Committee will review a request to reopen Common Road as a two-way street. Anyone can attend, not just Stowe residents. There's also a Zoom link provided in FPC Announce and FPC Forum, but the committee holding the forum cannot guarantee Zoom reliability. So if you're able, best to attend in person at the Stowe Town Building, 3rd floor on Tuesday, January 20th at 10:30 a.m. And then finally, a few words from me about small group ministry. And it will be a few. Those of you who know me know that it's hard for me to say just a few words, but I will try. If you've been part of small group ministry, you know its beauty and you know its benefit. If you haven't, I want to really encourage you to think about stepping into it. Small group ministry, for those who've done facilitation and those who've been a part of small groups, there's a saying that if you talk a lot, lean back and let others talk. If you don't talk very much and you're quiet, lean in and try talking a bit more. For me, small group ministry is perfectly suited for that because it is about deep listening. It's about being present for each other. And what we do is we start out with a check-in time at the beginning. Many times we'll take a little short break, and then we'll talk about a topic. And the topics are written by the small group ministry leaders. So they really are, I think, very timely and cover a wide variety. But the beauty of it is really getting to know 8 or 9 other people in the congregation in a time that is set aside every month. And I want to just say to you, I mean, I'm one of the co-facilitators, so it's really kind of my job to show up. And we encourage everybody to show up as much as possible, but it's not a requirement that you're there every time. But when I wake up on a Saturday morning, because I'm in the Saturday morning 9:30 to 11:30 group, there's a lot of mornings, I got to tell you, particularly in the winter, I'm not wild about rolling out of bed early and getting to the church. But I tell you, when I come and I'm there and I'm part of that experience, it never ceases to change me in some ways, in a good way. And it's just such a wonderful experience. So if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, please think about joining this year. We've got a lot of different groups, a lot of different times. Sue Stewart is going to be downstairs at a table at coffee hour. You can talk to me a little bit more about it. You can sign up in person, or you can go online and do that. It's easy as well. So enough about that. Hope you'll consider being a part of small group this year.
Good morning. Our opening words this morning come to us from poet Cole Arthur Riley. She writes, "Our resistance is not predicated on how likely it will be to alter the conscience of the oppressor. We resist to retain our own conscience and to awaken all others who are still in possession of their own souls."
And now as Trek lights the chalice, I invite you to take in these words. The flaming chalice was created in 1941 for the Unitarian Service Committee during World War II. It was used as a seal on official documents that helped refugees escape Nazi persecution. Lives depended on those papers, and so lives depended on this flaming chalice. As we light this symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, let us hear the words of the ancient Hebrew prophet Micah. What does the Holy One require of you? To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
Would you mind introducing them?
Yeah. This is one of my favorite hymns by Melanie DeMoore. I invite you to rise in body and spirit and join us in singing.
Wow. And with that, let us remain arisen in body or in spirit as we say together our covenant and our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love,
Yeah, good. Good morning. Second try. As we begin, we would like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded territories of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Wampanoag peoples. And we honor and recognize the Black and African people whose unpaid and forced labor built this country and our state. We celebrate and work in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and people of color organizations who are leading the movement for our collective liberation in line with our UU values. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to invite all the children and youth to come forward and sit with Kelsey or Kennedy here in the front. We're going to sit in the front row so that when they put the pictures up on the screen, you can see the pictures for the story. Okay, so where's my so just gonna come sit here. You want to just sit either? Where's Ida going? I think we figured it out. So the story I'm going to share today is called No Mirrors in My Nana's House. And before I share the story, I wanted to just give you a little bit of background on it. So I think you all remember my cousin Frank, who came and spoke. Well, I have another cousin who sings in a group called Nzinga's Daughters. And Queen Nzinga was an African ruler many years ago. And this group sings songs from the African diaspora, meaning songs that are influenced from the sounds and rhythms that came out of Africa. So I was coerced into singing with them at one point. And even though I told you all last year that I was never going to sing again, I actually am. So this is the book, well, the words that I sang with them, and I didn't even know it was a book till many years later when someone gifted this book to me, and so I wanted to share it with you all today. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her eyes, oh, was in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. So I never knew that my skin was too black, and I never knew that my nose was too flat. Oops. I never knew that my clothes didn't fit. I never knew there were things that I missed, 'cause the beauty in everything was in her eyes, oh, was in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. I was intrigued by the cracks in the wall. I tasted with joy the dust it would fall. The noise in the hallway was music to me. The trash and the rubbish cushioned my feet, and the beauty in everything was in her eyes. Oh, was in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. The world outside was a magical place. I only knew love and I never knew hate, and the beauty of everything was in her eyes. Oh, was in her eyes. Child, look deep into my eyes. Child, look deep into my eyes. Child, look deep into my eyes. Child. So I wanted to share that with you because there's a lot going on right now. And I just want to remind us that no matter what's going on, there's always a place to find love. And now Ida, is going to, and Mommy, is going to come light our chalice.
Excerpts from the letter from the Birmingham jail by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. My dear fellow clergymen, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling my present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. I am in Birmingham because injustice is here. Just as the prophets of the 8th century BC left their villages and carried their "Thus saith the Lord" far beyond the boundaries of their hometowns, and just as Apostle Paul left his village of Tarsus and carried the gospel of Jesus Christ to the far corners of the Greco-Roman world, so am I compelled to carry the gospel of freedom beyond my own hometown. Like Paul, I must constantly respond to the Macedonian call for aid. Moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds.
Good morning. I'm Hector Constantzos, one of the lay ministers here. Lay ministers is a group that's here to assist the minister, Cindy, and also now the intern minister with whatever your concerns are and ways that we can provide comfort and assistance. If you have anything that you want to express or if you need our assistance, feel free to contact us either by sending an email or go into our website and you can find contact information for the lay ministers there. I'm also, unfortunately, the only one here amongst all the lay ministers. The rest of them are in Florida, a few on the West Coast. So I'm here to lead our joys and sorrows for the morning. There weren't any received in email, so we'll start off with any joys or sorrows you have to express here in the sanctuary, and someone will bring you a microphone. And I'll start with one. I'll light one final candle for two more. One is for all the joys and sorrows that remain in our heart and unspoken, and also for all the cost of war.
Our prayer and meditation this morning come to us from Reverend Teresa Hardy. I got out of bed this morning because of all those who had to get out of bed before me. Martin and Coretta, the day after his home was bombed. What did they tell the children? My father, every day of his young life in Lowndes County, Alabama. John Lewis, after nearly escaping death on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. My ancestors, who were dragged to the United States in chains, laid flat like chattel on ships, and survived. They survived and got out of bed each morning. I am sick and tired and grieving and ready to quit this country. But I got out of bed, shamed by the thought of letting these ancestors down. For now, that's how I am getting through this day. Let us enter a time for silence.
Blessed be, and amen. On Tuesday, I asked Chris and Trek if we could use this next song this week. I had just noticed that it is included in the new UUA virtual hymnal. And I said, the author Meg Barnhouse is dying. She may die this week. In fact, she died later that day. And the outpouring of grief among Unitarian Universalists across this country has been profound. If you've never heard of Meg Barnhouse, she's been a long time out and proud lesbian minister serving in Texas, of all places. She's written 5 or 6 books of short stories and meditation manuals, some of which I think are still in print with the UUA's Skinner House Press. One of them contains one of my favorite readings, which is called Sorry, Hun, Not My Table, in which she advises ministers and everyone to learn from waitresses who know their boundaries and limits of what's their work and what is, sorry, hun, not my table. And this song, in particular, has changed many lives. It changed mine in January of 2002. I was fired from my first year as a minister from my first church in January 2002. I was fired in a very harmonious, friendly way by a congregation that had run out of funds to pay their minister through a long, complicated series of UUA transactions and missteps, you might say. And that congregation, in their agreement with me, gave me the money to still go to my first UU ministers gathering, which were held every 5 years, called Convo or Convocation then. And so I went to, in early February or late January, I went to my first UU ministers big gathering and got to say over and over again when people asked me, how's your first year in ministry going, that it had ended and it was miserable. And I went to a worship service there. And I heard this song. And this song is, and the love of colleagues is is why I am still a minister today. In this song, Meg is listening to the voice of the Catholic saint Julian of Norwich, who is known for saying, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And that can seem blasé. It can seem like a platitude. And Meg struggles with these words and says, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? Do you not know about pain? Do you not know about loneliness? Do you not know about shame? And Julian of Norwich answers Meg's cry and says that it's not that we don't know about those things. We don't know about the sorrow of the world when she says all will be well. It's that love never dies and it is always there. And so I invite you to sing this song today, holding the spirit of Meg Barnhouse, who sings them not with gentleness, but with anger and rage and sorrow in her heart when she sings these words. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. Please rise in body, word, spirit.
You are holy, Yeah, now it's on. You can hear me? Yes. All right. As I read this, you're going to close your eyes and you're going to think about Martin Luther's words, because we've heard them before and they pertain so much to us. So, you may well ask, why direct action? Why sit-ins, marches, and so forth? Isn't negotiation a better path? You are right in calling for negotiation. Indeed, this is the very purpose of direct action. Nonviolent direct action seems to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that a community which has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront this issue. It seeks to dramatize the issue that it can no longer be ignored. By citing the creation of tension as part of the work of the nonviolent resistor may sound rather shocking, but I must confess that I'm not afraid of the word tension. I have earnestly opposed violent tension, but there is a type of constructive, nonviolent tension which is necessary for growth. Just as Socrates felt that it was necessary to create a tension in the mind so that individuals could rise from the bondage of myths and half-truths to see the unfettered realm of creative analysis and objective appraisal. So must we see the need for nonviolent gadflies to create the kind of tension in society that will help men rise from the dark depths of prejudice and racism to the majestic heights of understanding and brotherhood. We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Frankly, I have yet to engage in a direct action campaign that was well-timed in view of those who have not suffered unduly from the disease of segregation. For years now, I have heard the word wait. It rings in the ear of every Negro with piercing familiarity. This wait has almost always meant never. We must come to see with one of our distinguished jurors that justice too long delayed is justice denied.
Our Unitarian Universalist congregations are self-supporting. This means that our time, talent, and treasure that we give to our congregation is kept here and arises through the grassroots of our contributions. This month, we are sharing our weekly offering with the Boston area gleaners. Your most generous contribution will be gratefully received and blessed for the work of the church. Oh, it's Bridges to Malawi. Thank you. All right, thank you, Meg. So there is a description. It is Bridges to Malawi, which is mentioned where the plate sharing is in the announcements. So the morning's offering will now be greatly received and blessed to the work of this church.
This is the final part of the letter from a Birmingham jail. There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over, and men are no longer willing to be plunged into the abyss of despair. I hope, sirs, you can understand our legitimate and unavoidable impatience. You express a great deal of anxiety over our willingness to break laws. This is certainly a legitimate concern, since we so diligently urge people to obey the Supreme Court's decision of 1954 outlawing segregation in the public schools. At first glance, it may seem rather paradoxical for us consciously to break laws. One may well ask, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? The answer lies in the fact that there are two types of laws, just and unjust. I would be the first to advocate obeying just laws. One has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. I would agree with St. Augustine that an unjust law is no law at all. I hope you're able to see the distinction I'm trying to point out. In no sense do I advocate evading or defying the law, as would the rabid segregationist. That would lead to anarchy. One who breaks an unjust law must do so openly, lovingly, and with a willingness to accept the penalty. I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust, and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice, is in reality expressing the highest respect for law. Of course, there is nothing new about this kind of civil disobedience. It was evidenced sublimely in the refusal of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to obey the laws of Nebuchadnezzar, on the ground that a higher moral law was at stake. It was practiced superbly by the early Christians who were willing to face hungry lions and the excruciating pain of chopping blocks, rather than submit to certain unjust laws of the Roman Empire. To a degree, academic freedom is a reality today because Socrates practiced civil disobedience. In our own nation, the Boston Tea Party represented a massive act of civil disobedience. We should never forget that what Adolf Hitler did in Germany was legal, and everything the Hungarian freedom fighters did in Hungary was illegal.
I want to thank our readers for giving us, believe it or not, very short excerpts from the letter from the Birmingham jail. Thank you. Bringing these words alive in this day, in this age, in this time seems so very important right now. There are two things that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King has written that have profoundly affected me this week. And I wasn't entirely sure where this sermon was going to go once Wednesday rolled around. I knew where it was going on Tuesday, but then by Wednesday I had already begun changing what I wanted to say. I'm sure you've done that many times. The letter from the Birmingham City Jail is 7,000 words long, approximately. There's actually a few versions of it because, you see, it was snuck out of the jail in dribs and drabs, in little pieces of paper. So it wasn't one official letter. And it was a letter that was sent to all of the clergy folks. In fact, he says clergymen, but I'll say clergy folks here, because they were complaining that as a minister himself, he was causing a little bit too much of what we now know as good trouble. The letter and the excerpts that we heard today do not, the letter includes, though not the excerpts today, a admonition of the white moderate. You've probably remember those words if you've heard the letter before. To read the whole letter, by the way, would take about 45 minutes. I did it the other day, so I know. Justin, my partner, also knows. And it was a profound moment to read that aloud to him, but I also read aloud to him another letter. This is the eulogy of the Reverend James Reeb. Who is familiar with the name James Reeb? Many of you may have heard it. Good. So the Reverend James Reeb was in his late 30s, a Unitarian minister who answered a call to come to Selma by the local clergy there. This call was one that, you have to forgive me, I got over the flu last week and pneumonia, and my voice is still coming back. I also yell a lot at injustices, mostly my television. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that too. One of the reasons that I decided to read the eulogy this week of James Reeb is because I'm feeling particularly called to some of the same things that I think the Reverend James Reeb was called to. And part of the other reason is that he's white. And I relate to him because he's white. I think one of the reasons so many of us last week were shaken by the killing of Renee Nicole Good is because she is white. A parent, a partner, driving a car with her kids' stuffies in the back seat, looking out for her neighbors the way so many of us believe we would. She fits a story that white America recognizes as innocent, relatable, and undeserving of state violence. Because she's white. Many white people can see themselves in her. And I'm not saying that that is necessarily a bad thing or a good thing, but it is a thing that should be acknowledged. Because of the recognition, her death broke through in a way that many others could not. In fact, it was only after her killing that many people began to learn the full scope of how many black and brown people have been killed by ICE since the beginning of the Trump administration. Not because this violence is new, and it's not been hidden. It just has not pierced most of the white consciousness yet in this country. So before we move on, I want to pause for a moment to say, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, Carlos Roberto Montoya Valdez, Jenry Ruiz Guilen, Sirawit Gezahagen Dejene, Maxim Cherniak, Juan Alexis Tineo Martinez, Brian Garzon Rayo, Non Nok Nguyen, Marie Ange Blaise, Abelardo Avellaneda Delgado, Jesus Molina Vea, Isdro Perez, Tien Quan Fan, Chao Fang Ji, Lorenzo Antonio Batres Vargas, Oscar Rascon Duarte, Norlin Guzman Fuentes, Miguel Angel Garcia Medina, Johnny Noviello, Santos Benegas Reyes, Ismael Ayala Urabi, Leo Cruz Silva, Hassan Ali Moda Saleh, Josu Castro Rivera, Gabriel Garcia Aviles, Kai Yin Wang, Francisco Gaspar Andres, Pete Sumalo Montejo, Shiraz Fatahali Shawani, Jean Wilson Brutus, Faud Said Abdul Qadir, Delvin Francisco Rodriguez, Nenko Stanev Ganchev, are human beings that were murdered by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement of the United States of America in our name. They are not statistics or abstractions, but human lives ended by state violence. And while many of us are shocked, this kind of violence is well known to our Black and brown and indigenous members and neighbors. It has endured for centuries. The year 2019 marked more than 400 years of survival under racialized systems of terror, policing, and state-sanctioned harm. So when we say, as white people, I can't believe this is happening, many of our neighbors hear something else entirely. They hear, you were not believed until someone who looked like me was killed. This pattern is not new, and I don't want to bring it up to make you feel guilty. I do not. Instead, I want us to consider what it means to be in solidarity, what it means that we did see ourselves in Renee Good, because it actually meant that white people were showing up to these things. It means that we are showing up. We identified because we now see ourselves as potential targets, too. Some have compared Renee Good to Viola Liuzzo, and that comparison reigns painfully true. Viola was a white mother of 5 from Detroit who traveled to Selma in 1965 to support the voting rights movement. After one of the marches, she was murdered by members of the Ku Klux Klan while driving Black activists. Her death shocked the nation in a way that the routine beating and killing and lynching of Black civil rights workers did not at the time. And then there was the Reverend James Reeb. Reverend Reeb was a white Unitarian Universalist minister, as I mentioned earlier, who traveled to Selma after Bloody Sunday. He was beaten by white segregationists on his way to dinner and later died from his injuries. It was his murder that finally pushed President Johnson to throw the full force of the office of the president behind the Voting Rights Act. We must ask the question honestly, why does it take the murder of a white minister to rouse the conscience of the nation when Black people were being beaten, jailed, and lynched regularly? And the answer is still uncomfortable. Over and over again, it's because white people saw themselves in him. But that also allows us to actually be in solidarity in a way we maybe could not have been before. Martin Luther King Jr. himself understood this devastatingly clearly. In his letter from the Birmingham jail, he named how white moderates preferred order to justice, comfort to transformation, and patience to urgency. But this week, it was King's eulogy for James Reeb, as I mentioned, that struck me most deeply. King did not only ask who killed James Reeb, he asked what killed him. And his answer to me is most profound. King said that Reverend Reeb was killed by the silence of ministers who hid behind stained glass. He was killed by the irrelevance of churches that served as taillights rather than headlights. He was killed by the brutality of law enforcement acting lawlessly in the name of the law. He was killed by the timidity of politicians and the cowardice of those who accepted unjust systems as inevitable. King's words then are a mirror. They ask us to look at ourselves and to consider not whether we are outraged, but whether we are prepared to do the next right thing. This week, I am traveling to Minneapolis. I go as a clergy person responding to a call that is emerging once again in our time. We are living in a time that is showing us a rising tide of fascist-style authoritarianism. State violence is being normalized. Their humanization is being codified, and silence is being rewarded. And history is asking something of all of us today. Not all of us are called to the same role. Some of us can do the direct action of going to Minneapolis, often with the support of our congregations. Some of us can watch children while others do that work. Some of us can engage in mutual aid. Some of us can cook meals for the organizers, accompany people to ICE hearings, or offer safe spaces for rest and healing. Some of us at some point may be asked to hide someone whose deportation to their home country could lead to their death. A Unitarian Universalist colleague, the Reverend Sean Neil Barron, wrote this week, "What is your red line? Not theoretically, the one that moves you from scrolling to showing up, from hoping someone else handles it to realizing, oh, it's me." Outrage is not the same thing as being organized. Anger is not our readiness. Talk to the people you trust. What would get you in the car at midnight? What would you cook for? Who would you hide? What are you willing to lose? Then ask them theirs. Listen, because sometimes you show up for their line, not yours. And that's what community actually means. Get clear now before the moment arrives. There are 60 new vehicles that just arrived at the ICE facility in Burlington. History is not made by heroes. It is made by tired people who decided this was the night that they weren't going back to sleep. James Reeb did not wake up planning to become a martyr. Viola Liuzzo did not set out to die. Renee Good did not imagine her care for her neighbors would cost her her life. But this is the reality of where we are right now. It is not safe for our neighbors, and so then it is not safe for us. What they shared was a refusal to look away. King ended his eulogy for James Reeb by saying that the greatest tribute we can offer is to continue the work he began, to labor until justice rolls down like water and dignity is honored for all people. He insisted that history's truest heroes would never be famous, but faithful, ordinary people who chose courage over caution when it mattered most. So I ask you gently but clearly, what is your role? Are you the one who shows up in the streets, the one who makes the soup, the one who coordinates rides or listens to your fellow activists late at night, providing an ear that can listen? We do not need everyone to do the same thing, but we need everyone to do something. The systems that produce this violence thrive on our exhaustion and our isolation. Being together and building this beloved community is how we resist well. Preparation is how we love our neighbors, and courage is how we honor the dead. May we be ready together when the moment asks who we are. We are about to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing as our final hymn. But this is not simply another hymn. It is often called the Black National Anthem, and it carries deep weight and memory and reverence for Black communities in this country. It was written by James Weldon Johnson and set to music by J. Rosamond Johnson, and was first sung by Black schoolchildren in the shadow of Jim Crow. It became a song of survival, of faith and endurance in a nation that repeatedly broke its promises to our Black and brown neighbors. Today we sing this song standing in body or in spirit. We stand because this song is not a casual hymn. We stand out of respect for our Black and brown neighbors and congregants, and for the generations who carried these words when freedom was denied. For those of you who are white, when we sing this, we do not sing it as if it came from our own history, please. We sing it from our own place, but through the lens of our Black and brown friends and neighbors. We listen for their exhaustion, their perseverance, and the hope forged under injustice in the song. Let the words come to you, let them teach you, and let them unsettle you if they need to. Please rise in body or in spirit as you are able, and let us sing, lift every voice, and sing hymn number 149.
before I let Trek share his words of benediction, I wanted to invite you to give us a blessing on this clergy call that Trek and I are both answering to go to Minnesota this week. We have two ways you can give us your blessing. One is we need financial support for Trek. I have professional expenses for being the minister of this church, but we did not give our internship, our program, professional expenses. So this is going to be an expense, and we'd like to fund Trek through that. Brendan has set up a new fund called Clergy Call that you can pay, you can put in the memo line of a check, or you can pay on our online donation system using that tag. The second way is that we want you to sign your names, saying that you stand with us, march with us, sit with us, roll with us as we go, so that you are with us there in Minneapolis. And so I have my old standing on the side of Love's stole, and I'm asking you to sign the backs of it. If we run out of space on the back of the stole, I also have a t-shirt there. Trek is going to have you literally sign the shirt on his back. I'm going to shove a piece of cardboard up his back so we don't get Sharpie all over his skin. So we'll be over here with pens, and we invite you to give us your blessings on this journey. Thank you. Trek.
As we touch one another in common cause, and with the Great Spirit in our midst, let us find the way and the courage to realize the dream which still lives within us. And as we do so, may we go forth to live long and prosper.